Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Live Wire here on Inside UNC Charlotte. Thank you for joining us again and putting us on your screens. And today we're going to be talking about a program that's been a special part of the life of UNC Charlotte for the last 4 years. It's the Levine Scholars Program, and the 4 years part is key because what it means is that the first class of Levine Scholars is preparing to be graduated here in just a few weeks. So joining us today to give us sort of a reminder of the Levine Scholars Program and talk a little bit about the progress, and then to hear a little bit about some of the firsthand experiences from an actual Levine Scholar. Diane Zablotsky, who is the faculty director of the Levine Scholars Program, and Evan Danchenka, who is one of the inaugural students in the program. And so thank you both for joining us. And Diane, let's start with you. Give us the, how quickly can you boil this down? But the quick overview of the Levine Scholars Program here at UNC Charlotte, just in case people need to be refamiliarized with it.
Well, the Levine Scholars Program is the premier scholarship program, merit-based, on this campus that resulted from a generous gift from the Leanne Levine Foundation and Sandra and Leanne Levine, who wanted to contribute to the university in a transformative way, and the scholarship program has done that. It allows us to recruit approximately 15 incoming freshmen per year, which we've done over the past 4 years. And the students that we select from the program, from many hundreds of applications and a couple thousand nominations, result in approximately 15 students who come in as incoming freshmen and get a 4-year scholarship that covers tuition, fees, room and board, and the general full scholarship gift, but also includes 4 summer experiences, which Evan can tell you a little bit about. Our students take full advantage of the opportunities they can make for themselves in the summer. And then they also have the opportunity to apply for up to $8,000 of a Civic engagement grant. So what we look for are high-achieving students who have a very strong ethic of giving back and civic engagement, and also students who want to grow as ethical leaders as they put a 4-year experience together as undergraduates.
And as you said, the interest has grown to the point where we really do have a few thousand students now who express an interest in this program during the application time.
They do. Students have to be nominated by their high school counselors, and we, for the incoming class that'll join us in August, we had over 2,000 nominations. So that means there have been a couple thousand conversations between high school seniors and their high school counselors. We have recruited students from as far north of Massachusetts down to Florida. An incoming class includes a student from Minnesota. So the breadth of the word and the recruitment has really spread very far in 4 short years.
So it's the best of the best, and
yes,
from wherever they may be. And you know, lest anybody have any questions about the sort of exclusivity about this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe without getting too deep, but if we need to, we need to. But this has a benefit to the entire university, doesn't it? Doesn't
we really think
rub
it does.
Off and make
well,
a statement?
We really do think it does. I've been on this campus for a long time, and I've always been proud of the students that we attracted and the students that we educate. UNC Charlotte has always had incredibly bright students. What a scholarship program like this does, it allows you to bring in cohorts of students, groups of students who can energize each other and work together, students who form a culture of scholarship among the undergraduates. And so what we find is that with the Levine Scholars and other merit scholarship winners on our campus and other students in honors programs, that you really can see a synergy and an energy when they take leadership roles on campus.
Have you been surprised at how quickly it's taken off, or did you know this would happen in terms of 15 students a year? You knew that part, but
right.
You know the quality, it's there, but the sheer numbers of the folks who want to take part in this and who are all probably pretty qualified, at least on paper. And
We
it's
do.
a tough process.
We do.
has that happened at the pace you thought
No,
it would?
I think we've been pleasantly surprised at the
Yeah.
pace. I think we were enthusiastic and energized to make a mark in as short a period of time as possible. None of that would have been possible if the students that we had recruited in the first year or two didn't roll up their sleeves and work very, very hard,
Yeah.
both scholastically and in other ways, once they came to Charlotte.
Yeah.
And so the word has spread quickly. The reputation, I think, has grown quickly, and now we have this energy that we can feel when we visit high schools and when students come to visit our campus, and students who have heard about the program and want to hear more about what they can make for themselves.
So Evan, you were a pioneer in this program, and not really looking at a record of success in this program, but you must have known that this was a great opportunity when you made that decision to pursue it.
Right. I knew in high school I wanted to go to UNC Charlotte for the architecture program.
Mm-hmm.
And being kind of sold on how good the program was and being local to Charlotte, this was the only scholarship I even applied for.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't need to apply for anything else. And when I came in, what was interesting about the size of the university, the cohort being a tight-knit group, is you get to know each other well enough that you can see the large group impact, you can see the statistics, you can see the accomplishments, but you can also get to know the personal impacts, and you get to see each person in your own role in the group. If it's any larger or really any smaller, either one of those categories can get a little marginalized. So it's a nice balance.
So you came here knowing architecture was for you. Did you have any moments?
Well, I hoped it was for me.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate to be one of the few that was, that's what I thought I was going to be interested in. Turns out it was, for different reasons, but it still, I'm lucky that I actually was in the major that I wanted to be in since, I don't know, early days of high school.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty rare. I've watched a lot of my friends in the program come in and just really discover all the different opportunities there are other than what you really think is available coming into college.
That's pretty much what a university is for, and if it's not going to confirm the belief you had coming in, it's going to probably open some paths for you to follow that you never knew existed. So it all works out in the end for most students, we hope. So take us through some of the highlights of the experience, and maybe in doing so, what are some of the things that are sort of the highlights of the Levine Scholars experience? You start with a trip where you kind of get to know each other and get to know yourself pretty well. And maybe while you're talking about this, let's switch over for the folks who are watching to see a slideshow that's on the Levine Scholars website, levinescholars.uncc.edu. And while these slides are playing and people notice the captions, take us through the highlights of the experience for you and what it actually involved.
The academic highlights are, I guess, all the events and programs and exposure you get, and periodically throughout the semester. So you always get to see other fields of interest and what people are doing. It's kind of rubbed off on me that I've never wanted to room with architecture majors, just kind of keep that diverse field. Then there's some of the kind of just experiential highlights, always having social events and going on retreats and getting to talk to other people that are having just those kind of similar outreach interests. And I kind of think of it as a student intellectual society. You get some really stimulating talks going on. And then obviously the summer highlights are the big ones. I think that is really the kind of defining characteristic in this scholarship.
And again,
the 4 summers.
The Levine Scholars Program gives you the opportunity to do 4 summer programs. It's not just a trip, but it's more than study abroad, I assume, too.
Yeah, and they vary in how much they're structured.
Yeah.
Knowles being introduced even before college, and it's structured for you in the group and everything. And then by the end, you're going abroad, and you can even kind of construct your own entire experience.
So where all did you go?
For my summer in Charlotte, the nonprofit I worked with was Carolina Thread Trail, and the other half of the office was Catawba Lands Conservancy. So that was a 5-week program. And the second summer, I kind of paired it with the grant project. And this is what I mean by being able to write a bit of your own experience. And I happened to, again, be fortunate enough that the McCall Center for Visual Art downtown offered me an artist affiliate position. I just wanted to work with the artists. I didn't think they were going to offer me a position. So taking that, I was like, okay. I went to Dr. Zablotsky and said, well, now that they've offered me that, is there a way that we can like make some kind of experience out of this? So the pre-professional bit, but then the open door community aspect of what it means to be an artist at the McCall Center. And so I did a project studying sounds and visuals of inner city transit lines. A little in anticipation for the light rail in Charlotte, but I got to travel to 6 different countries in the U.S. and take my video and audio equipment with me and come back to Charlotte and write these compositions in my studio using half the sounds that I record of the trains and half a bit of a music background and traditional composing and
That's great.
making a piece together. Showed that at the McCall Center on my last day there, and then had a little gallery opening for a few days in stores.
Neat. Is that work available for us to see and hear if we want, or is that?
Yeah, it's online.
Online? Okay. What do we look for if we want to?
Oh man.
After we're done with this discussion,
Yeah.
if we want to go online, where should we go to see it
Yeah.
or hear it?
You can probably either Google search if this isn't exactly the name, but Evan Danchenka.blogspot.com. I think it's as simple as that.
Okay.
I mean, it's
Danchenka, Danchenka.
that's it. Yeah.
Got it. All right.
Yeah, and the project was called Trans Sound Plaza.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do after May when Yahoo, you're graduating on time, which kind of goes with the program, we hope, but what are you going to do next?
Well, I'm glad you're not asking me that next year.
Okay.
Because my next year is the 5th year architecture program. So I can brush that question off.
Okay, never mind.
But no, I did have to decide if that was the track that I wanted to take, because the 5th year program is kind of a pre-professional. It preps you to go into the workforce as an architect. The program is very different from the first 4 years of undergrad. That's more of the conceptual academic background. The 5th year program is at the Center City campus. So I'll be moving down there, a new apartment, off campus for the first time. So I do feel like I'm graduating in more ways than one, going into the new program, and it's going to be a lot more focused on some collaboration and how the actual workforce in the design field works.
Diane, are the students and their majors pretty evenly distributed across the disciplines and at UNC Charlotte?
Well, we do have students in every college in the university. We don't select on majors because, like many incoming freshmen, and Evan alluded to, many students come in with a preset of ideas.
Despite what a dean might say, and I'm not thinking of anyone in particular, but it's not necessarily the case that the best and brightest students are all from one college.
No, actually, and we think part of the strength of the Levine program is that they are multidisciplinary.
Yeah.
So we do have students in every college. They sometimes double major. We have double majors and double minors. And so there is a huge diversity in their pursuits. Not only their pursuits in terms of the majors and curriculum they study, but in how they choose to do their travel, how they choose to do their nonprofit work, how they choose to fit together their in-classroom and out-of-classroom work. It's a very, very eclectic bunch. There is no one framework in which a Levine student goes through the 4 years.
Do you sense from what the students tell you, as the director and their top advisor, and then Evan as a student, is there necessarily, is it exponentially more pressure on these students, and or are they, by virtue of being selected and qualified for this program, able to handle it?
Well, I think the answer to your second question is yes. We've been very proud of how they've blossomed and how they have navigated the 4 years here and done some pretty incredible things. As you can imagine, the students that we recruit are high achieving and have often higher standards and goals for themselves than anybody else in their lives have. They want to be very good at what they do. They want to make a difference. They want to chart new paths. So they come in with a lot of pressure on themselves to make certain things happen. I think especially the first year, but as still a relatively new program, there is a lot of attention paid, and people ask routinely how they're doing, what they're doing. And so yes, I think it'd be naive to say there was no additional pressure on a Levine student, because they're afforded tremendous opportunity, and we invest in them. I think individually and collectively they live up to whatever standard we've set and typically surpass that.
Evan, it's the case that the first group is pretty good friends with the next group, the next group, the next group. You're kind of a group that's expanded now to 60.
Yeah.
But do you foresee that being the case no matter how big the program gets, or you're going to reach a point, you suppose, where as you have students in the program and then alumni, and are you going to feel close as you do now?
I think the spirit is already there. It's so ingrained in what it means to accept and be a part of the program, that, you know, as a senior, like the freshmen and any of the years that have been growing behind us, you know, they come to us and we come to them, and there's just these relationships that develop that you never, you know, would have thought, and that's so ingrained in what it is that it doesn't matter how many years are going to go on. That people are going to know that that's what it's about, is the cohort, is the center of the students, and how, you know, again, I call it this little intellectual student society. I like
Right.
how that sounds, you know. There's an edgy mentality, and there's it's a family, but it's also it's not all, you know, there's the support, but then there's kind of the collaboration.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, I don't know. It's just there's a lot of different forms that it takes.
Sure. We're talking about the Levine Scholars Program here at UNC Charlotte, which this May will graduate its first class. It's been around for 4 years now. 15 students a year, the best and brightest from increasingly around the country are drawn to this program, which provides those students with exceptional benefits, including full tuition, room and board, 4 summer experiences, a project in the community, and as you were saying, you become part of a close-knit group of sort of similarly focused individuals from diverse sets of interests. And so it sounds like a recipe for success all around. And with that in mind, if you were to project 10 years down the road and look back, do you think that intellectual society is going to be still together as sort of a society of special alumni who have maintained contact and share experiences in life out in the real world?
Yeah, no matter, you know, it's hard to predict how far and wide we'll all spread, but there's always, you know, that bond that we're going to come back to and share.
Yeah. Diane, when we started, we talked a little bit about how this kind of a program in some ways signifies the arrival for a university. You know, we've finally grown up, and we're, you know, we're full-on legitimate place with pretty important things going on here. So this is the kind of program that you'd expect to find at a flagship university, and certainly Chapel Hill has, a comparable program. But in your time here, remind us a little bit about your background at UNC Charlotte and the things you've seen, the changes you've seen in the time you've been here, and is this something that you would have imagined earlier?
Well, I came in 1992, so I've actually been here through a lot of the growth that Charlotte's experienced and enjoyed. I think it's the kind of program that we knew we were capable of supporting. I think it's the kind of student experience that we want to provide for as many students as we can. I think that, yes, I think that this shows a level of an intellectual community among the faculty, because students in our program blossom as they do often because they're mentored early and throughout their 4 years, which is necessary for raising students to the highest level possible for their next steps. So I think that it does show development in terms of the students we can attract, the students that we can support and nurture in their 4 years here, the kind of aspirations that they have for their next step, and in fact the kind of achievements that they have. And it's interesting to me that you asked Evan about the 10-year window, because I do think that it's most exciting to think about the long view. You know, obviously we have students who have near-term goals that are very exciting and high and competitive. But I think real success comes when you look 10 years down the road and you see a community of alums that are willing to support an intern at their place of business or in their practice, or are willing to reach back and say, you know, one of the things I knew was valuable was when I got to do this, let me help you do that as well. So it shows, I think, growth and maturity on many, many levels, and I think we'll continue to be surprised at what this group of alums can also develop and build for the students who come behind them.
And not to ask you to speak for the Levines or the Levine Foundation necessarily, but what's in it for them?
Well, I think that the philanthropy that Mr. and Mrs. Levine have shown to the community of Charlotte is almost immeasurable, the ripple effects of the investments that they made. And so I can't speak to any more than how we feel as beneficiaries, because we feel that their gifts actually are seeds that have been planted that are going to bear fruit, if you want to ride the metaphor, for a long, long time. I think that I think it's a good thing for everybody to see these relationships form, and our students do get to meet Mr. and Mrs. Levine, and they do get to talk with them about their aspirations, and then as they mature, how they've reached their goals. And so we're hoping that they feel that personal connection as well, because we know our students feel it. You know, I think that when you invest in people, and especially as Mr. and Mrs. Levine have invested so heavily in education and healthcare, that the dividends keep paying in ways that you hope to predict, in ways that you can never imagine.
Sure.
So we're hoping that they feel that the students in which they have invested has been resources well spent, and that they'll continue to just surprise us pleasantly and give back in their own ways, and give back to the community of Charlotte, as Mr. and Mrs. Levine have.
So this commencement will be the first group of Levine Scholars, and then has the incoming class for this coming fall been selected?
It has,
Okay.
and that'll be up on our website shortly. We're currently getting them ready to think about their National Outdoor Leadership School expedition in July, which is back in Wyoming. So we have a very exciting time as we graduate our first class while welcoming our new class for the fall.
All right. Well, I would like to advise folks watching that if you go to the UNC Charlotte website, and again, all one word, levinescholars.uncc.edu will take you to the homepage for the Levine Scholars Program. It's certainly fully on and active right now, and I've also been advised that it's undergoing a bit of a facelift, and in the coming days it's going to be different, but plenty to see on that site now if you'd like more information about the program and to see the slides that we saw earlier, or just get to know the students a little bit better. And as we close, before we close, we want to say thank you to Diane Zablotsky, the faculty director of the Levine Scholars Program, and Evan Danchenka, who is about to become a fifth-year architecture student here at UNC Charlotte, but member of the pioneer class of Levine Scholars. First, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
And secondly, as we close in the next few minutes, I want to go to the UNC Charlotte YouTube channel. And another bit of advice for you who are watching, UNC, just go to YouTube and enter UNC Charlotte, and you will find an amazing amount of video and fantastic segments of many varieties. And this is something that the students in that first group produced. Judging by the looks of it, was it shot with phones, or was it shot with little camcorders, or flip phones, or something? Yeah, flip cams. But it kind of captures that experience that's now, 4 years in the rearview mirror for you. But I think we see you a few times in this piece. So we'll close this segment of the live wire here on Inside UNC Charlotte with a piece that you can also see on YouTube, but we'll let it play out the program today, going back to that first group of Levine Scholars from 2010 and their trip to Wyoming that kind of got the big ball rolling. So thanks for watching and enjoy this video, and we'll see you again next time.
This is day 1 of our Knowles expedition, and this is our tent.
It's the morning after arrival. Everybody's coming back from eating. We're looking back the way we came. Came up here, turning around, saw the tents where we set up camp. And supposedly, we're gonna head down this hill over here and head up this valley.
When you become leaders of the day and you're running the show for yourselves, you'll be in charge of running evening meetings, and so it's a good idea to early on sort of think about what you like, what you don't like, what you think is helpful for this kind of discussion.
But on a scale of 0 to 10, I'm probably a 5 in terms of being a fly fisher. I'm the kind of fly fisherman who, if I go with my friends,
He's getting our knot out. Fisherman John is getting our knot out.
Hey, Sam!
Smile, Sam. Hey.
Hi!
She's not gonna.
I see snow!
This is Caitlin's first time
Yay!
ever
First time
seeing
ever!
snow. The poor Florida native.
I love it!
So here's the log cabin we found. Hey, Jacob.
Hey.
There's snow. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow!
And it's going to be the last kind of waterfall, kind of flow we have going. And we're going up there with the snow.
Mary. The people, there's Sam, Celia.
Here's everyone headed up to Coal Chute Pass. And here's our sign. We're at elevation 11,200 feet.
Hey everybody, it's August 2nd, 11:53. We're in the second day of student expedition led by our leader, Evan. We're on the top of Lake Pete. We have only a couple days left and we're going to do a panorama. This is the highest point. So, starting with Jacob. What do you have behind you, Jacob?
we're on a mountain.
The Tetons and the moon. Going around to Cassidy.
Hey, y'all, we're about to head all the way back down there after we join the camp here.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we're at 10,762 feet right now.
Okay.
Snow down there, and I'm so happy.
She's so happy because of snow. Yeah, we're coming around to Mac. Look at that beautiful view.